What's up, y'all? Sparta here. I want to do my Note 8 versus V30 video, and I'm gonna start off the bat. Let me change white balance here because that looks kind of weird to me. But I want to start off the bat with like a brief synopsis for impatient people that just want the answer out of the gate. If you want a, content creation powerhouse, something that'll give you granular control over your camera settings, a plethora of camera settings, and overall a better low light shooter, go with the V30. If you also want an audiophile's dream when it comes to mobile inside a phone, there is no other phone out there that can beat this phone as far as that goes. Overall better battery life, smoother performance. I haven't really had a hiccup or anything aside from when I'm installing a billion apps or something, which is the case with every phone. So that's not necessarily a boon to this phone. So this is the content creator's dream, the audiophile's dream, a smooth experience that's not stock Android or stock-ish Android like any Motorola phone or anything like that. Or, yeah, in that nature, this is the phone you would want to get. If you want a productivity powerhouse, if you're a fan of the Note line, if you like what Samsung is doing, a slightly better display. I won't say that this is downright better. There are kinks with the V30 display, not what I've been having personally, but what I've been having personally on here, I get on here too, so it's kind of a wash. So I'll discuss that in a minute. As far as that goes, this is the productivity powerhouse. If you value the S Pen, if you just love the Note line in general, you go with the Note. V30, if you just don't like the Note and you don't like the Note 8 this year, the V30 is the better sequel in a lot of ways because it keeps... I'm going to just get into it. That's pretty much as far as that goes. There's no clear winner as far as which one is downright better. I'm not going to say that the V30 shits on the Note 8, the Note 8 shits on the V30. I'm not going to say that because that's not entirely true. So, without further ado, let me get into this. But first, let me actually turn the displays down so you guys can see whatever I'm doing on the phone itself. So I got these at relatively the same brightness. Different kind of wallpapers, blacker here, brighter here. So what I'm going to do is let's talk about the main thing that people have been harking on LG in general for this latter half of the year, and that's the OLED display versus specifically their only competitor in that space, Samsung. Will I say that the Note 8's display completely shits on it? No. People that say that they just have a bias towards stuff like, oversaturation, having the most vibrant colors in the world, which I personally don't like. I don't like it when I take a picture on my Note 8 and my As far as battery life goes, both have 3300 milliamp hour batteries. This supports Quick Charge 3.0, and this is Samsung's adaptive fast charging, which is Quick Charge 2.0 standard. So this charges faster than this. Both have fast wireless charging. Both charge in about, say, if you have a battery that's at like 15-20%, it'll take 2 hours and like maybe 20 minutes to charge completely. So as far as wireless charging goes, both are there. It also will help so you don't so the quality of your port doesn't, doesn't disintegrate over time. Because that does actually happen. My V20 actually has that issue where sometimes it'll fast charge, sometimes it won't fast charge, it'll just regular charge. I just unplug it, replug it back in, and it fast charges. The performance overall, I think the V30, as I said, does beat it out. Even though this has 6 gigs of RAM and this has 4, that doesn't ever matter to me. It comes to optimization. And LG has done a better job in a lot of ways of optimizing their user interface, their version of Android, with Android 7.1.2. And Android 8 will be coming soon to both of these phones, but LG has also, added the ability to do the press and hold, the long press that you get on, apps in Android 8 to go through certain things. And it works very well. And it works basically how it should. On here, you don't get that, I don't think. No, it just has it baked into, the launcher, where it'll just bring up launcher commands. It won't bring up, commands for the app itself. So that's whatever. It's not something that's a deal breaker, but it's something to keep in mind. Audio. Speaker quality, I'd say, is a tie. I think both companies need to do stereo speakers right about next year because they're taking a bit too long to do that. Come now. Like, it should be a thing. It doesn't make sense not for it to be a thing. So next year, hopefully they do it. But as far as the headphone game goes, you guys pretty much know how this is. LG is king in this section now. So it's their domain to rule. There's more clarity. It pops more. It has more bass, more clearer, more satisfying bass. It's louder. It's louder without, drowning out other sounds in the background. And it just plays with sound way better than what any other phone could do on the market, say, aside from the V20, which it's very similar, but there are a lot of different things that this phone does that this phone doesn't, which I will get into with the V20 versus V30, more in-depth comparison video. Call quality is great on both. These are still phones, so I am going to talk about that still. Texting, I'd say messaging is more satisfying on the V30 because the vibration motor in this phone, which I know is a very, niche point to talk about, but simply typing on this phone and having the haptic feedback, it feels more satisfying to use than on the Note 8 because you gotta go into a store and use it yourself, but it's like you go into the camera app, right? And you can even do it on here too, where you can bring up context menus. Say you want to do a manual camera mode, right? Oh wow. Let me readjust that. It has the same thing on both where you can do that, but when you slide in and out with this, you slowly feel it vibrate with each individual pip that you go up. And when you take a picture, you feel it as well. And it feels really nice. Whereas on here, you don't get that. You just press it, and it makes a shutter sound if you have the shutter sound come on. And it's like a night and day difference in that regard. It just makes it feel more satisfying for you to do certain things. I'm not saying that anything regarding haptic feedback or anything on the Note 8 is trash. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying it elevates the experience more. It makes you feel like you're holding, it makes you feel like you're using a product that's having more and more quality things put into it, right? The vibration motor on the Note 8 is loud and chunky. On here, it's like soft, but it's like, it's strong. It doesn't feel like it's loose. And that's something that is a very noteworthy thing to say. Battery life, I think, is overall better on the V30. As I said, both have 3,300 milliamp hour batteries, and I get through more with this than I do with this. And I use both of these phones mainly on full brightness. I like teeter off throughout the day. Sometimes I do 50, sometimes I do 100, sometimes I do less, but I mainly stay on 100%, and it works better, and this is more efficient at keeping battery than this is. Samsung really needs to step that up. One thing I do wish that every manufacturer, every phone company should take note of, no pun intended, is the physical home button that, Samsung has in their phones, right? You hard press it and you can, if you don't have a lock screen, if you don't have like a screen lock, it'll unlock your phone. If you go into an app, you could hard press down there on the bottom of the display and you get out of that app with no problem at all. And it feels very nice, and it's quick too. Sometimes it doesn't want to work, but it works more than it doesn't work. So I'll just say that. Another minor thing about the camera, the lens quality on here is better than it is on here. Like, nothing gets like blown out, and nothing feels like it's about to be super hazy or anything like that. And it also helps with low light photos. You don't get a lot of noise through the V30's camera, and that's another thing with the f1.6 aperture that helps it a lot. Gaming. When it comes to gaming, I think the V30 is overall better because of the simple fact, not the right toggle, that when you go into a game, right, I'll load up a basic game here. You get, just like with the Note 8, you get the toggle down here to go into your game settings. But the difference is that you could adjust, the graphics. And you can see it has resolution and frame rate. And you could actually quite see the difference too. It's not something that's negligible. You can see and feel the difference. Whereas on here, say I go into Marvel Future Fight, since that notification popped up, you go into here, you also get it down there. But what you get here is full screen, alerts and stuff like that. You go into the settings thing, it takes you out of the game, and it just gives you more settings. You don't get any sort of option to change the graphics or resolution or frame rate or whatever, which is something that's not really that big of a deal, but it's something that if you're a gamer, a hardcore gamer, it's something that you will appreciate. And that is something that it's one thing that I hope the Razer phone does, and that they expand on. Because if Razer comes out the gates, we're making a phone / whatever they're actually making for mobile gamers, If they don't have any sort of granular settings like that, then I think they're going to drop the ball. But that's it as far as that goes. What else? As far as heft, a lot of people have been saying that the V30 is very light, and I will agree it is very light. People have been saying it makes it feel cheap. I don't really agree. For me personally, I think it's more satisfying to have a phone that doesn't have too much heft. Plus, if you're using it all day throughout the day, it causes less strain on your hand to hold a phone that's light compared to a phone that's heavy. This phone has heft. Like, you can feel it. This phone doesn't, but if you want that heft, just put a case on it. Both phones, as far as design-wise, I like them both. They complement their respective series nicely. This looks like a Note. This looks like an LG phone, not necessarily a V phone, because they've changed that quite a bit. But, yeah. I do wish LG would also add some sort of, quick way to get into the camera through any screen and not just the lock screen. Because with the Samsung phone, you just previously was double tap the home button, now it's double tap the power button, and you get into the camera, double tap it again, you go into your selfie shooter. And that works 100% of the time. Whereas here, you can only really do it on the lock screen. You just hit the volume down button twice, and it goes into the camera. Which is, whatever. I do wish Samsung would also have a double tap to wake and sleep feature as well. That's something that more people more OEMs, more manufacturers, more whatever, need to put into their phones as well. Because that is a feature that's slept on quite a bit. And LG is pretty much the only one that's been doing it since Nokia has left. Well, they've come back, but since they left the smartphone game, and now they're actually back. So I don't know if Nokia phones have that still or not, but LG phones do. As far as the overall design, which one I prefer, it's kind of a wash. I think I like the V30s a bit more. I like the overall, I don't like glass on glass, but I think as a safety measure, a safety protocol, having mil standard A10G on this glass is very reassuring, and it makes me feel that I don't necessarily need to have a case on it. I did the same thing with my G6, didn't have a problem with it. Whereas on this, I feel Samsung's holding that back for their Galaxy S active line, so that that's pretty much the only thing that's keeping that phone as a unique phone, as a unique device in Samsung's lineup. So I guess I understand that, but it's whatever. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't necessarily say that, like I said in the beginning, I can't say that one shits on the other. That's not the case. One thing I wish they both still had were IR blasters, and it isn't the issue of, they're water resistant, so they can't have it. The Huawei Mate 10 Pro has an IR blaster, and that's water resistant. So why these couldn't do it, I have no clue. Plus, these have open ports as well, right? So having an IR blaster wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world. One thing I say I would want on both phones is bigger batteries. I think that's one thing. Heat dissipation and whatnot, both phones stay relatively cool. I think the V30 right now has been has been more cool than the Note 8. Both have heat pipes in them, so you don't have to worry about heat being a super terrible thing, so just keep that in mind. As I said, they both are pretty much feature-packed. The V30 is more feature-packed in the camera. This is more feature-packed with the overall software experience in the S Pen. Like I said, if you want a productivity powerhouse Note 8, content creator's dream, V30. Which phone does their respective line better? I'd say the V30 does. Because of the simple fact that the Note 8 at the end of the day just feels like an S8 Plus with an S Pen, which I really loathe saying, but it's kind of true. Whereas this, it doesn't just feel like a bigger G6. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like an LG V series phone when you pick it up, when you hold it, when you use it. It doesn't just feel like another, LG G series phone that's just bigger, But that's not to say that the Note 8 is not a good contender for a good sequel. It is. And Samsung just had to pick up from where they left off, That's pretty much it. The Note 7 had its issues. They had to really play it safe this year. So let's hope next year they actually get to do something that's, groundbreaking in a lot of ways. Same with the V30, V40. I hope they do more stuff. There are improvements that I want, specifically display. I don't want to have the same issues happen next year, which they shouldn't, but, it's whatever. Let me know what you guys think. As far as, these two having both these phones go, this could not be more of a perfect match, and I need to remember not to do that on the V30 display for me, because I love both of these lines a lot. I'm fans of both of these lines. I started with the V10 and had the Note 5 right alongside it, and I've loved that combo ever since. But yeah. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. I will indefinitely be having my live stream of any questions you guys want to ask about the LG V30 either tomorrow or on Sunday. Probably most likely Sunday, but you guys will see a notification come up, so just keep that in mind. All right. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Let me know what you guys think about these two phones in the comment section. What phone are you guys deciding to get or have already gotten? And please keep it civil. I don't want any wars in the comment section. It's not about what phone shits on the other phone. It's about what phone is better for you. And the phone that's overall better for me, I think, is the V30 because of what I value in the phone. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.